FRANCO is in serious contention to get a seat next season. Max Verstappen reveals chances for winning the championship, and Red Bull reveals the future of the team as multiple figures leave the team. Do consider subscribing to the channel. Now let's get straight into the latest F1 news. Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko has recently tried to downplay the most recent events occurring within the organization based in Milton Keynes. This is particularly significant because several key team members have accepted positions with rival teams, raising concerns about the team's future. Over the past several months, notable figures such as Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey, Sporting Director Jonathan Wheatley, and Head of Race Strategy Will Courtney have all made the decision to join other teams. Specifically, Newey has taken on a new role with Aston Martin, Wheatley has moved to Sauber Audi, and Courtney is now with McLaren, where he has been appointed as the sporting director. This wave of departures has sparked ample discussion within the racing community about the potential impact on Red Bull. It is also worth mentioning that this trend of key personnel leaving has been ongoing. In the previous year, Chief Engineering Officer Rob Marshall left Red Bull to join McLaren as well. Initially, he accepted the role of Technical Director of Engineering and Design, but soon after, he took on the significant position of Chief Designer. In response to Courtney's announcement of his departure from Red Bull last week, former driver Jos Verstappen expressed his frustration regarding what he referred to as the brain drain from the team. He stated rather bitterly that this situation is exactly what he had warned would happen. He emphasized that the number of people leaving now is becoming alarmingly high, which could have serious implications for the team's effectiveness moving forward. However, Marko holds a very different perspective than Verstappen. His viewpoint was clearly articulated in an interview with Formula1.de, a publication related to autosport. When asked whether the ongoing power struggle between team principal Christian Horner and himself could be contributing to the recent departures, Marko provided a different take. He pointed out that it is quite normal for teams that have achieved considerable success, like Red Bull, to experience player poaching. He suggested that Courtney received an offer that was not only much more attractive in terms of his position, but also significantly better financially than what he was earning at Red Bull. Marko indicated that this was true for many of the individuals who had left the team recently. As for replacing Courtney, Marko made it clear that there is only one person in mind for the position of Head of Race Strategy, and that is Principal Strategy Engineer Hannah Schmitz. Marko emphasized the importance of unity within the team, urging everyone to stand together and work tirelessly to win the current World Championship. He also highlighted the necessity of building competitive cars, not only for this year but for the future years as well. He stated that maintaining a strong foundation is crucial if Red Bull hopes to keep a talented driver like Max Verstappen on their roster. Speaking of Verstappen, his long-term future with Red Bull is becoming increasingly uncertain. There have been reports suggesting that Mercedes considered making a move for the three-time world champion. They have since promoted a highly rated junior driver named Andrea Kimi Antonelli to a race seat for the 2025 season. Antonelli's signing has prompted team principal Toto Wolff to acknowledge that the team should reconsider pursuing Verstappen at this time. In the meantime, with Newey's expertise now a part of Aston Martin's team, they are openly showing interest in signing Verstappen for the future. Verstappen himself has remained somewhat coy about this possibility, leaving many eager to know what his next steps might be. When asked whether Newey could potentially have resolved Red Bull's current issues with the loss of key personnel, Marko responded that this was merely a hypothetical question with no real basis in reality. He dismissed the notion by stating that Red Bull has a diverse and talented team capable of overcoming these challenges. He assured everyone that they will find solutions to the issues they are facing. Looking ahead, Red Bull is also focused on completing construction of its new wind tunnel, as the current facility located in Bedford is becoming outdated. Marko acknowledged that having a more modern wind tunnel would be beneficial for the team moving forward. He frankly admitted that their existing wind tunnel dates back to the post-war era, originally constructed by the British Army. Marko concluded by emphasizing that they are significantly behind the times in this regard, and expressed hope that by 2026, their new wind tunnel will be fully operational, helping the team regain a competitive edge in the racing world. Johnny Herbert has explained the decision-making behind Max Verstappen's penalty for swearing, having been part of the FIA stewards panel at the Formula 1 Singapore Grand Prix. Verstappen has been issued with a community service order by F1's governing body for swearing in a live televised press conference. It comes after an Autosport exclusive interview with the FIA president Mohammed Ben Sulayem, in which he urged drivers to curb their foul language. In the article, Ben Sulayem said, "We have to differentiate between our sport, motorsport, and rap music. We're not rappers, you know. They say the F word how many times per minute? We are not on that. That's them and we are us." While Herbert, who was a race steward at the Singapore GP where the Dutchman swore in the press conference and was punished, says the sanction was not a direct result of Ben Sulayem's wishes to target bad language, he has provided insight into the decision. At the press conference in Singapore, Max used the F word about his car. "The press conferences are beamed around the world," he told Casino Hawks. "There is more swearing than there ever has been. A press conference is not the place for it. Some journalists have said the sport is trying to make robots out of the drivers. That's not the case. You are just asking them not to swear, which I think is the right thing. Most drivers don't swear." The incident was referred to us as stewards. We had a good open chat with Max for about 20 minutes, half an hour, in what was a difficult situation. You could see in his face he was really worked up about it. But when he left, he appeared to be mollified about the process and why it's there. He did not blame us as stewards. As stewards, we have a range of tools to punish drivers. We are there to implement the rules and make a decision together. We could have fined him, but we felt it would be more beneficial to get him to do something socially responsible. It is up to Max and the FIA what that is. It all blew up afterwards because he went to the press conference and gave one-word answers, then held his own impromptu press conference outside in the paddock. That showed Max's rebellious streak. I love that side of him. It is what makes Max, his honest and outspoken character. But there is a time and a place. Personally, I think there is too much swearing. I don't want my 5-year-old grandchild listening to that sort of language. Herbert also admitted that Ben Sulayem's controversial interview did not go down very well with the drivers, and claims they were antagonized. He added, "There is an FIA code about not using foul language." A week before, the FIA president Mohammed Ben Sulayem had talked about swearing and saying F1 drivers shouldn't swear, and they were not rappers. That did not go down very well with the drivers who were antagonized, especially Lewis Hamilton, who felt it was a racial slur. The drivers were not happy about it. They all bandied together with Max. I have noticed that the drivers are a much closer-knit bunch than I have seen for many years. They have much stronger opinions on issues. Swearing is something Ben Sulayem is wanting to stamp out. You can't so much in the heat of the moment during a race in the car when emotion comes out. I hope common sense prevails on F1 drivers swearing moving forward. The drivers and FIA need to work together. There has to be an understanding that both sides need to work together. I know the FIA president is unhappy with foul language. There is an understanding among drivers that swearing at a press conference is not right. It is just something that built up from the president's initial rappers comment, which some found offensive, to then Max being dragged before the stewards in Singapore. Herbert also says that there has since been a meeting with the F1 drivers, and that the exact details of the community service punishment dished out to Verstappen are yet to be agreed. He said, "We had a meeting with the drivers afterwards when at least one, who I won't name, made clear that in his opinion, swearing was not acceptable. There are many youngsters around the world who love the sport and worship the drivers. Drivers have to understand that they are role models. We made the decision that there was a case to answer, if you like. It is between Max and the FIA to agree what the sanction should be and what it would be. That part is out of our control." Franco Colapinto's confident performances haven't just surprised the Formula One paddock, but the Williams rookie has also awakened a nation's yearning for its next sporting hero. Few countries are as sporting crazed as Argentina. Just remember the scenes in the capital Buenos Aires after its national icon Lionel Messi finally captained the country to winning the Football World Cup, with an estimated 5 million Argentinians flocking to the streets in its delirious aftermath. On the opposite side of the spectrum are the 3 days of mourning declared after Messi's predecessor Diego Maradona died in 2020, which led to similar mass gatherings as fans traveled from all over the South American country during the pandemic to pay their respects. Argentinians haven't had it easy lately. Following years of economic decline, Argentina's inflation rate soared to 250% over the summer, with an estimated 52.9% of its 46 million population living in poverty. That downturn led to right-wing libertarian Javier Milei being elected as president last year, armed with radical deregulation policies to fix its economy and turn the ailing nation around under the watchful eye of the International Monetary Fund that has lent Argentina up to $44 billion. Argentina is a patriotic nation at the best of times, but amid its economic malaise, its citizens are yearning even more to find new reasons to be proud of their country. That practice even has its own word, exitismo, which is described as excessive eagerness for success or excessive valuation of its achievement by third parties. When Messi lifted the long-coveted World Cup in Doha in 2022, that eagerness for success was rewarded spectacularly. What better way to lift a country's morale than sporting success on the world's biggest stage? But the mercurial 37-year-old is now in the twilight of his career, and while Argentina fiercely celebrates its hockey and rugby teams too, it is always on the lookout for that next sporting hero to inspire it in difficult times. It goes without saying that there's a chasm between guiding your country to the World Cup and finishing 8th in a Williams. But 21-year-old Colapinto is now surfing on a similar wave of homeland support that also backed the likes of NBA star Manu Ginobili, tennis player Gabriela Sabatini, or field hockey legend Luciana Aymar. The country has a rich history with F1, with a Grand Prix held intermittently in Buenos Aires between 1953 and 1998. 4 of those were won by Argentina's original F1 superstar Juan Manuel Fangio, with Carlos Reutemann the last Argentine to win a Grand Prix in 1981. Since a brief intermezzo by Gaston Mazecan in 2000 and 2001, fans have had to wait another 23 years to cheer on one of their own, until Williams' protege Colapinto was surprisingly parachuted into Logan Sargent's seat at September's Italian Grand Prix. While Colapinto's unexpected promotion already made headlines back home, the Buenos Aires native's strong performances generated an even bigger buzz. TV audiences and social media numbers soared in recent weeks, with Fox Sports Argentina's broadcast figures tripling since Colapinto's arrival. Fox, which is just one of several ways to watch F1 in the country, enjoyed even bigger peaks during the Singapore GP, which drew around 600,000 viewers, up from an average of 150,000 on the subscription channel, rivaling primetime numbers on a Sunday morning. In local newspapers, numerous articles popped up highlighting his every move, down to journalists even tracking down his birthplace Pilar on the outer edge of Buenos Aires' sprawling metropolis. Its citizens are hosting F1 watch parties, which are set to become even more numerous when the championship heads to the American continent and time zones next, so Argentinian families can watch the races live over their cherished Sunday lunches. Those who are fortunate enough to travel have tried to grab an opportunity to see their new hero up close at the upcoming Brazilian GP, which has largely sold out. "I'm very happy to have so much support from my country," Colapinto told Autosport in an exclusive interview in Singapore. "It's very special, and to see everybody so happy with the good results we are having as a team in Williams, it's nice to see that they are enjoying so much. I'm really looking forward to going to Brazil. It's a very special place for me. Being from Argentina, it's almost my home race, so there are going to be a lot of fans." Argentinian sponsors soon saw an opportunity, with Mercado Libre and Globant flocking to Williams mere days after Colapinto's seat for the remainder of the 2024 season was announced. "I'm really proud," Colapinto added. "To be honest, since Williams announced that I was going to be racing with them in F1, so many companies came and arrived, and more are hopefully arriving soon, which is great to see. Globant was one of the first ones that helped me to get into Formula 2, and to have them now in the car also in F1 is very nice. And Mercado Libre is one of the biggest companies in South America, and it's very, very nice to see. I am very grateful." Argentina's government was also quick to spot an opportunity to piggyback off Colapinto's early success, with Tourism Minister Daniel Scioli announcing plans to revive the Argentinian GP. "I'm going to take care of it because I spoke with President Javier Milei to bring Formula 1, he said at an event hosted by the International Tourism Federation. "I have no doubt talks are already underway to bring it to our country because today it is allowed to think big." Reviving the race has often been a pipe dream in the past, but Scioli's delegation is now planning to travel to the Brazilian GP to hold exploratory talks in F1. Given the state of its economy and the high demand to claim a slot on F1's 24-race calendar, Argentina's prospective bid is up against fierce competition and will have to rely on private funding. But given Colapinto's F1 career is currently set to only last until the end of the 2024 season, With no guarantees over his long-term future, Scioli's claims have been dismissed as political clout chasing by some observers. If Colapinto's F1 career does take off properly, for example by Williams loaning him out to Sauber for the next few years, then the hype around him will likely only get bigger over time. That is a net positive for both Colapinto and Williams as long as things go well. But there are also concerns for when his relationship with either his team or his on-track rivals takes a turn for the worse. Earlier this year, Sauber Jr. and IndyCar driver Theo Pourchaire was subjected to death threats on social media after a run-in with Argentinian Agustin Canapino at the Detroit Grand Prix, which soured what had been a surge of interest from Argentina in its former touring car ace and IndyCar's partly Argentinian-owned Juncos Hollinger racing team, and mirrored similar events in 2023 involving Callum Ilott. Fortunately, the incident involved only a small minority of fans, and given the mature way he digested his unexpected F1 debut, the grounded and well-supported Colapinto appears to be equipped to deal with whatever his newfound fame throws his way. But while Grand Prix winning success is still a distant dream for Colapinto, at least his proud country has found another reason to smile. Dutch pundit Tom Coronel is feeling the stress of the F1 2024 title race, fearing the odds favor Lando Norris over Max Verstappen in an 80-20 split. Norris delivered a crushing blow to the reigning world champion at the Singapore Grand Prix as he took the checkered flag 21 seconds ahead to slash Verstappen's lead in the standings to 52 points. It's not so much the gap in the standings that has Red Bull worried, but Norris's pace on the track. Although Norris won the Grand Prix by 21 seconds ahead of Verstappen, he was 30s ahead before backing off in the final laps to ensure the victory. Lando's dominance was alien, Red Bull Motorsport advisor Helmut Marko told Formel.de. Especially on the medium tires, he took 9/10 to 1 second per lap from us. It's a whole new world. The Marina Bay victory, which was Norris's second in 4 races, meant he has taken points off Verstappen in every race since F1 returned from the summer break. Verstappen's lead is down to 52 points. It has Dutch pundit Coronel concerned that the tide has turned in the championship, especially as McLaren can use Oscar Piastri to help Norris. Worse, he told Racing News 365. I say 80-20 for Norris. Not that he will close the entire gap in one go, but the difference between the cars is really too big at the moment. I would have trouble sleeping. I'm stressed about it, he added, because I can just see that the other cars are faster, and because Max has squeezed the most out of him, because no one would have dared to dream of a P2, Max included. Only the gap is too big. For me, it's about the gap, not about the position. The McLaren is so much faster and Piastri is also in front, so if you have a McLaren 1-2 and he is 3, maybe 4, then it's going to hurt seriously. Verstappen still has 1 point in his favor. In fact, it's 52. A lead that Norris will struggle to overturn in 6 races as all Verstappen has to do is finish runner-up and he'll retain the world title by a single point. It does, however, mean one slip up and things and everything could change. He can't have any bad luck. Only then will it be okay, Coronel said. Pointed out to him that also applies to Norris, he added, yes, but in Azerbaijan you saw that he can drive all the way from the back to the front. If you are in a faster car, you can always make up for it in the race. Always. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.